The Don is covered with Velcro, and every charge in the indictment stuck.
It was the Godfather without the fancy music.
Boss in jail. But that makes Junior the street.
They call him the Dapper Don. His name is John Gotti.
John Gotti.
The FBI.
You know they're going to try and go to jail. They say you're in danger while you're out here.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
John Gotti Jr. walked into this house just a
the nation's largest organized crime family.
In the rainy autumn of 1940, above the subway's roar, under dim hallway lights in the Bronx, a baby boy named John Joseph Gotti Jr. came into the world. It was October 27th in the Gotti apartment on Castle Hill Avenue. He became the fifth of 13 children born of his father John Sr. and mother Philomena Fanny DiCarlo. His father worked day laboring odd jobs in an attempt to put food on the table, a mission he unfortunately could not fulfill. Neither parent could know that their son would one day become one of America's most notorious and charismatic crime bosses. John Jr.'s earliest memories were of crowded rooms and chilly radiators. By age 5, he shared a single bed with 2 siblings. Breakfast often meant boiled potatoes, dinner might be stale bread. Both his parents were born in New York, but family stories spoke of San Giuseppe Veneziano, a sun-baked village south of Naples. In those tales, grandparents tilled vineyards and kneaded pasta dough, living light years away from the Bronx tenements. Yet for young John, every day was a lesson in survival. Dodge the rats, endure the cold, and learn who to trust. At 12, John's family moved to East New York, Brooklyn, chasing cheaper rent and less steep stairs. A 2-bedroom flat became home to 8 children, relatives, and the scent of boiling sauce. John Sr. took on jobs hauling bricks, unloading freight trains, whenever the pay was right. Fanny managed the home, stretching dinner across hungry mouths. School offered no relief. John skipped classes, bullied smaller kids, and ran from teacher scoldings. His rebellious streak climaxed at 14 when a stolen cement mixer crushed his toes, an injury that left him with a limp he would wear like a badge of toughness for the rest of his life. Brooklyn street corners pulsed with a harsh code: power, respect, and fear. John fell in with the Fulton Rockaway Boys, a gang tied to the then Anastasia family, which would one day become the Gambino family, run by John Gotti himself. Evenings found him on shadowy corners, delivering envelopes, collecting debts, and learning the value of silence. He worked with his brothers to hijack cargo trucks at Idlewild Airport, today JFK. They stole electronics and garments, then disappeared into waiting vans. His dark hair, fierce glare, and short temper, always matched with violence, earned him the nicknames Black John and later Crazy Horse. Each small victory on the streets fed his hunger for more, an opportunity to provide for his family. For the first time in his life, he did not have to see his father struggle to put food on the table, as John and his brothers became the providers for their family. Amid the chaos stood Anilo Neil Dellacroce, the Gambino's underboss and John's unlikely mentor. Dellacroce's calm menace, his gravelly voice and steady stare, impressed young John. In the Ravenite Social Club's dim backroom, Dellacroce taught him to move unseen, to judge character in a glance, and to repay loyalty with fierce protection. He drilled into John that boasting was a fool's game, that true power lies in quiet control. Under Dellacroce, John refined his style, matching the image of a mobster, tailored Armani suits, slicked back hair, and a hardened stare that commanded attention and fear. In 1968, justice caught up. United Airlines employees identified John as the man signing for stolen cargo. He was let on probation, but arrests followed for hijacking cigarettes off the New Jersey Turnpike and ransacking Northwest Airline trucks only 2 months into his punishment. Federal agents shadowed him, built building charges. Facing prison time, John pleaded guilty and received 3 years at Lewisburg Federal Penitentiary along with his friend Angelo Ruggiero. Behind bars, he walked the yard with a limp but an unbroken spirit. He memorized faces, learned rivalries, and told himself that freedom would be his chance to seize real power. When Gotti was paroled in 1972, he returned to Brooklyn with a sharpened reputation. Carmine Fatico, barred from meetings by a court order, named John acting capo of the Bergin Hunt and Fish Club crew. Gotti ran the gambling rackets, 7-digit number games, poker nights disguised as pool tournaments, even loan sharking at triple-digit interest. He kept one foot in the legitimate world through a no-show job as a plumbing supply salesman. That job paid him a steady wage while his streets earnings exploded. He lived modestly on 19th Avenue, but the Cadillac in his driveway spoke louder than any words. John, like any young man, fell in love, briefly guiding him to a legitimate life. In 1958, John met Victoria DiGiorgio, a waitress of half Italian, half Russian descent. Her laughter rang out in Prospect Park bars, her warmth steadied his restless heart. They married on March 6, 1962, and welcomed 5 children: Angela, Victoria, John Jr., Frank, and Peter. Their Brooklyn home filled with piano lessons, block parties, and Fanny's Sunday sauce. Then came March 18, 1980. 12-year-old Frank died in a mini-bike accident. The child's funeral left a void no wealth could fill. Within weeks, neighbor John Favara, Frank's accidental killer, vanished. Rumors swirled: chainsaws, acid baths, concrete-filled barrels. But no charges followed. The message was clear. John Gotti protected family at any cost, and from then on, he was ruthless. October 15, 1976 saw the death of Carlo Gambino, boss of one of America's most powerful La Cosa Nostra families. Much to Dellacroce's anger, Gambino chose a cousin by marriage, Paul Castellano, an advocate of white-collar schemes, to succeed him. Castellano's boardroom style clashed with the street soldier's blood and grit ethos. Dellacroce seethed in silence, imprisoned and stripped of influence. In July 1977, the membership books reopened. Gotti was made a capo regime. He replaced Fatico, reported to Dellacroce, and secured his place at the heart of the family's future. December 11, 1978, entered crime lore as the day 5 million vanished from JFK's Lufthansa cargo terminal. Jimmy, the Gent Burke, orchestrated the robbery, but Gotti's logistics were vital. He arranged for the getaway van to be crushed in a Brooklyn scrapyard, hiding all the evidence. Parnell Stacks Edwards, the driver, betrayed them by falling asleep near his girlfriend's apartment. FBI agents quickly swooped in. Edwards' disappearance soon after. His remains never surfaced. The heist's sheer audacity electrified Gotti's crew and cemented his legend. By 1983, Rancor boiled over. FBI bugs in Anguilo Ruggiero's home captured conversations about heroin shipments, defying Castellano's ban on drugs under penalty of death. Castellano demanded the tapes. Anguilo refused. Castellano threatened Gotti's operations. Behind closed doors, Gotti aligned with Frank DeCiso, Joseph Amorn, and Sammy the Bull Gravano. This coalition, dubbed the Fist, believed Castellano's greed and isolation threatened the family's survival. They prepared for a coup that would rewrite the La Cosa Nostra's rules. The night of December 16, 1985 began like any other in Manhattan's winter chill. Sparks Steakhouse glowed with patrons inside. 2 men, badges tucked in their coats, waited at the curb. Paul Castellano and Thomas Bellotti walked out, voices low, expressions guarded. In an instant, the imposters opened fire. Castellano's body slumped. Bellotti staggered and fell. Across the street, John Gotti watched from his black Cadillac with a smile. The unsanctioned hits stunned the underworld. Gotti's ambition had claimed the ultimate prize: boss of the Gambino family. Gotti's rise enraged the Genovese and Lucchese families. Protocol demanded commission approval for a boss's murder. Gotti had floated the rule. On April 13, 1986, near the Ravenite Social Club, a car bomb detonated too early, claiming underboss Frank DeCiso's life instead of Gotti's. The blast shredded the car and shattered the windows of his prized Cadillac, but Gotti emerged unscathed. In the smoky aftermath, he replaced DeCiso with Joseph Amorn and tightened his grip. His boldness deepened other families' loathing, fueling whispers of war on the streets of New York. Throughout the late 1980s, Gotti faced trial after trial: assault charges from a fight with refrigerator mechanic Romeo Pisek, racketeering indictments alongside Dellacroce, and hearings that droned on. Yet each jury hesitated. Witnesses recanted under intimidation. Jurors vanished or hung. Gotti transformed courtrooms into runways, flashing his signature grin in Armani suits for news cameras. He was unlike any other Don. While everyone else hid in the shadows, Gotti welcomed the media and would have long conversations on the news, parading around with his entourage. The tabloids crowned him the Teflon Don. No accusation stuck. He revealed in the spectacle, confident that his legend would shield him. As Gotti basked in the limelight, FBI agents tightened their net. Bugs hidden in the Ravenite's main room, rear hallway, and upstairs apartment recorded damning conversation. Gotti approving 5 murders, mocking rivals, plotting hits. Those recordings, once hidden in plain sight, became the cornerstone of a final case. Take a look.
Mr. Garrett, what happened is now, Tommy yesterday, or simple. So he says, I got a message from a giant Gambino. He says, I understand that you're reaching out to him. He's almost under like a house arrest, he says. You got to talk to me. He'd like to make an appointment if you want to see him in the lawyer's office. So I said, well, Joey was looking to make the arrangements with his son. I know, whatever which way you want to do, whatever which way I want to do. When he comes, I'll say what you want. You want me to meet him in the lawyer's office? I'll meet him Wednesday. I don't know what position you know, how you felt.
No, I'm going to sit from what I hear, and I heard it again today. I heard this guy, that's ratting over there, he's a friend from over there. He was a mixologist. He's a friend. They just sent another guy, another friend back, 2 friends of that from over there. An old timer and a guy about our age, like the 47 bracket, and an old timer. I don't know any my old timer. They're bringing the both of them over here. And they got depositions and board tapes. They got video surveillance, a couple of meters up there, going these places.
Not only that, I understand we have a floor and Gambino some fucking thing with it. Guilty. Trying to, that's going to come out. Friends, I didn't hit. And hits, back and forth.
You know what we got to do?
I wouldn't be surprised if this fucking kid,
if it's him, the liaison guy's getting whacked because that don't belong to us. That's their fucking crew. And he's got to get whacked because he's getting the same, for the same reason that Jelly Belly's getting. You want to challenge the administration, you will meet the challenge. And you're going to, motherfucker.
These tapes made Gotti's next case like no other. Now the FBI had proof of exactly what he had done, said by him. I would now like to show you a section of an interview posted by John A. Light on his YouTube channel. You can find the full interview linked below.
For a second, let me explain something to everybody. In 1990, they're going to get pinched pretty soon, right? Phil Baroni, the detective that worked with me, that did a murder with me, gives me good information that from Joe Coffey, who's passed away now, that they're going to pinch John Gotti on a murder. Phil was my bookmaking partner, and he was involved in drug dealing, killing with me, and a lot of things, and he was in my pocket for years. I had him. He moved with me from Queens to Cherry Hill, lived across the street from me. Earlier, you remember the guy got on on a call with me, who's a good friend of their families. And he gave me information that I gave John Gotti, and I said, you guys are going to get pinched. And he says, do you know where it's coming from? And I said, no, I know they got tapes on you from what I understand.
This shows even further how even among the people in the Gambino crime family, this trial was distinctly different before it even started. They knew they were being recorded, and they knew exactly what the FBI had. Yet it was too late. December 11th, 1990 saw the Ravenite raid that arrested Gotti, Gravano, and underboss Frank Lucchesio. In early 1992, a fully sequestered jury assembled in Brooklyn. Prosecutors played tape after tape, Gotti's icy voice sanctioning bloodshed. On March 2nd, 1992, Sammy the Bull Gravano, the man who had carried out 19 killings, took the stand for the government. He detailed the Sparks hit and subsequent murders with chilling clarity. Defense attorneys failed to shake him. On April 2nd, after barely 14 hours of deliberation, the jury returned the verdict. Guilty on every count. The Teflon Don had met his match. Even after John Gotti was led away in handcuffs, ordinary New Yorkers, from Bensonhurst deli owners framing his photo behind the counter to Sheepshead Bay pizza parlors advertising the Teflon Special each December 16th, continued to celebrate him as one of their own, slipping dollar bills under his portrait for good luck, donning handmade t-shirts declaring him a made man, and painting murals of his silhouette smoking a cigar against the Brooklyn Bridge under the motto, "Stick with Family." Taxi drivers screened old news clips of his trademark wave on in-cab TVs, while talk radio hosts debated the fairness of his life sentence and praised his unwavering loyalty. Community fundraisers titled the Gotti Gala quietly channeled proceeds into local youth leagues once fed by his gambling racks. Even small Catholic churches in Queens and Staten Island echoed with whispered prayers for Johnny Gotti, and prison mailrooms overflowed with letters from strangers who saw in him a man who protected his neighborhood, kept his word, and faced fate with a fearless smile. Proof, they believed, that in a city of broken promises, Gotti had somehow delivered. Sentenced to life without parole, John Gotti was shipped to Marion Federal Penitentiary in Illinois. His health crumbled under solitary confinement and the stress of betrayal. A 1996 prison yard beating left him battered. Offers of revenge went unfulfilled. In 1998, a diagnosis of throat cancer sent him to Springfield's Federal Medical Center. Doctors removed the tumor, but it returned. On June 10, 2002, John Joseph Gotti Jr. died at the age of 61. His funeral, unwelcome by other families, wound past the Ravenite to Moravian Cemetery. There he joined his son Frank, a boy who he had lost but never stopped avenging. Throughout John Joseph Gotti Jr.'s life, he aimed to provide for his family and the people of New York City the best way he knew. Although his tactics were of violence and criminal pursuits, the effect he had on the city of New York and the citizens of Brooklyn who remained loyal defendants of him for years past his death speaks to the possibility that Gotti was not of ill intent or malice, but was attempting to help the citizens of New York the only way he knew how. Thanks for watching. Which chapter of John Gotti's rise and fall surprised you most? Did you ever imagine a single hit could reshape an entire crime family? Or that bombs meant for a boss could claim his closest ally? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And did you know that the CIA's covert operations have been linked to the crack cocaine epidemic that devastated American cities? In our next video, we'll expose secret deals, whistleblower testimonies, and the human cost of those shadow wars. Subscribe now for our next deep dive, and thank you for watching The Hidden Media.